പ്രിയ ബഹുജൻ സമാജുകളെ, രാഷ്ട്രീയ സാമൂഹ്യ സാംസ്കാരിക പ്രവർത്തകരെ, സഹോദരങ്ങളെ, ഇന്ന് മഹാത്മാ അയ്യങ്കാളിയുടെ 158-ാം ജന്മവാർഷിക ദിനം. ഇന്ന് ബഹുജൻ ദ്രാവിഡ പാർട്ടി ഓൾ ഇന്ത്യ ലെവലിൽ ഇദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ മഹാത്മാ അയ്യങ്കാളിയുടെ ജന്മദിനം ആഘോഷപൂർവ്വം കൊണ്ടാടുകയാണ്. കേരള രാഷ്ട്രീയത്തിൽ, കേരള നവോത്ഥാന മണ്ഡലങ്ങളിൽ ഒരിടിമുഴക്കം പോലെ സവർണ മാടമ്പി തമ്പുരാക്കന്മാരുടെ അനീതിക്കും അക്രമങ്ങൾക്കുമെതിരെ സന്ധിയില്ലാ സമരം നയിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് കേരളത്തെ പ്രകമ്പനം കൊള്ളിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് കടന്നുപോയ മഹാത്മാ അയ്യങ്കാളിയുടെ ജന്മവാർഷിക ദിനം സന്തോഷപൂർവ്വം ഏവരും കൊണ്ടാടുകയാണ്. ഈ സമ്മേളന പരിപാടിയിൽ ഏവരെയും സന്തോഷപൂർവ്വം, ഹൃദയപൂർവ്വം സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. ജയ് ഭീം, ജയ് കാൻശ്രാം, ജയ് അയ്യങ്കാളി, ജയ് BDP.
Thank you very much, Jeevan sir, the organizers of this Zoom meeting. First of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity you have given me for saying a few words about Mahatma Ayyangale on this occasion of his 158th birthday. My dear Bahujan Dravida Party brothers and sisters, leaders and cadres, first of all, let me give my greetings to all the viewers of this Zoom meeting. As our National President Jeevan Kumar Mallaji has given a detailed account of the struggles and the life history of Mahatma Ayyangale, I need not focus much on his life because the main points have already been discussed over here. Still, I would like to give some of the incidents or some of the aspects of the struggles led by Mahatma Ayyangale. As you know, Mahatma Ayyangale was born in a small village of Vengano in Trivandrum district of Kerala state on 28th August 1863. He had to face a lot of discrimination in his early childhood days. But we know he was a real revolutionary and had an eventful life throughout. His struggles was a glittering chapter in the social transformation movement in Kerala. He had to fight a little battle for the liberation of the downtrodden people who had been denied the basic human rights for centuries. Since he was born in the caste of Pulaya, which was considered to be an untouchable caste, he was also denied the right to education, and he had to remain illiterate till his death. He had no formal education. He had to face many odds in life, which made him a strong fighter against the harassment of the upper class hegemony. Mahatma Ayyangale was the first and foremost leader who had raised the concept of public road or public well or public education system, and also campaigned for the entry of the depressed classes to the places of trade and worship. He raised a strong demand for the entry of children of the depressed classes into the education institutions, which was denied by the upper class landowners. When that was denied by the upper class, he had organized a struggle by the agricultural workers in the Travancore province, which lasted for more than a year. He challenged the landowning upper class, that if you are not willing to admit our children in the schools, our people are not willing to work in their paddy fields also. You see, that struggle lasted for more than a year. And we have to remember the period when the struggle took place. That was more than a decade before the October Revolution happened in the Soviet Union. So that was the greatness of Mahatma Gandhi. He had that vision. He had that revolutionary idea that only education will lead our indigenous people to progress and prosperity. So his first and foremost demand was that the kids of the downtrodden people or the untouchables should be admitted in the educational institutions, and they should get a good education for their future. That was the period when, and we have to remember that the agriculture workers had to remain unemployed for more than a year without even food in this period of struggle. And alternatively, Mahatma had to find out some alternative methods for their livelihood. When agriculture workers are boycotting this labor for the paddy field, they had to find out some alternative methods to meet their daily needs, for which Mahatma advised them to start alternative jobs like weaving and fishing, etc. The greatness is the entire mass strongly stood with him in this struggle. Ultimately, government had to budge and came forward for a settlement with Mahatma Gandhi, wherein it was agreed to admit the children of the lower class people in the schools. Even after that public proclamation, the entry was blocked by certain upper class landowning class. They were not willing to admit their children in the schools. In that situation, Mahatma Gandhi himself started a school for their children in the year 1904 and engaged some upper class teachers for this education. As you know, his biggest dream was to get at least 10 individuals graduated from his community. His dream was that. But now when we look back, we have tens and thousands of graduates from this untouchable class. But when we assess or when we evaluate the progress we achieved in the social arena, we have to admit one fact that it is very pathetic. That is, as Mahatma Gandhi or our Baba Saheb Ambedkar dreamt, these educated classes or educated people have not fulfilled their social commitment. That was the pathetic situation we have to remember in this occasion also. Similarly, Mahatma Gandhi organized a struggle for getting entry into the places of trade when there was objection from other sections. He literally used his muscle power to tide over certain situations. We know Mahatma Iyengar was about 7 feet tall with strong muscles, and when certain objections were obstacles were found by this upper class, Mahatma even handled them physically, and finally he won the battle. Mahatma Iyengar's life was filled with full of struggles for getting basic human rights for the Mool Nivasis or the original inhabitants. His struggle was for the self-respect of the indigenous people also. His struggles were for the right to walk on the roads, to wear decent dress, or to right to education, etc. For each and every basic human rights, the indigenous people had to fight with the upper class, ruling class. For leading these movements, Mahatma had formed an organization called Sadhu Jana Parivalana Sangam in the year 1907, as our national president pointed out. And the most important thing we have to note in the organization was that there was no division of this subcaste. Absolutely, there was no division. All the poor people were organized in a single organization without any caste difference. Even after decades, even now, we see organizations on the basis of subcaste sprouting on a daily basis. So when we analyze the struggles, or when we analyze the vision of Mahatma Iyengar brought before us, we must confess that our organizations of these Mool Nivasis are failing to understand the vision or concept of our leaders, because even now the organizations are limited to their petty caste feelings. So the Sadhu Jana Parivalana Sangam was not like that. It was intended to unite people of all castes into one. That is, the Bahujan concept was there even from the days of the formative days by our Mahatma Iyengar. And this Sadhu Jana Parivalana Sangam was formed in the year 1907 after 3 or 4 years of forming the Sri Narayana Dharma Parivalana Sangam, that is SNDP, formed by our great Sri Narayana Guru in the year 1904. And the Sadhu Jana Parivalana Sangam started its work, its functioning as a well-knit organization in the southern parts of Kerala, that is in the Travancore province, which was very progressive in its concept and was well organized. Seeing this, Mahatma Iyengar was nominated to the Legislative Council, that is Srimulam Praja Sabha of Travancore, on 4th December 1911. And he remained there as a member for about 27 years, almost till his death. Even though he was illiterate, his speeches in the Legislative Council were thunderous and he raised all the burning issues pertaining to the downtrodden masses. He had a clear vision on the economic emancipation of the working class, for which he demanded agricultural land for the real tillers of the soil. His legislative council speeches had an electrifying effect, and the government had to assign a lot of land to the agricultural workers as demanded by Mahatma Ayyangari. Mahatma Ayyangari's contribution is immeasurable, especially in the field of education, which will continue to inspire our generations to come. When we celebrate the 158th anniversary of Mahatma Ayyangari, we have to look back honestly and see and verify whether we have achieved the vision or the targets set by Mahatma in the field of education, in the field of politics, in the field of culture, in the field of economic information, etc. So, I would like to emphasize one point in this lecture, that is the concept of Bahujan as confined by Mahatma Ayyangari is the best alternative to tie over this situation, to overcome all the hurdles we face in the Brahminical social order prevailing today. So, as our Bahujan Dravida Party has published, or Bahujan Dravida Party's concept to form our own government and put an end to all the Brahminical disorders was the best way to commemorate the birthday of Mahatma Ayyangari. While we celebrate the 158th birthday of Mahatma Ayyangari, we have to reiterate our pledge to carry forward the battles for which he devoted his entire life. So, on this occasion of the 158th birth anniversary, I would like to convey my greetings to all the viewers of Bahujan Dravida Party for a better and brighter future for the Bahujan masses of our beloved motherland. With these words, let me conclude my speech once again and thanking all the viewers of this session. Jai Mahatma Ayyangari, Jai BDP, Jai Kanchira. Thank you.
बहुजन द्राविड़ा आगे बढ़ो, अब अपना नया इतिहास रचो.
We can create even casteless society only by becoming rulers of India.